We're back. Hello, Matthew. So it was that stressful. LSU baseball was that stressful for you this weekend with your Navy shirt on? Cheers. Was that stressful? What part of it was it stressful, Matt? Was it the 20 earn run plus earn runs that you gave up this weekend? What part of it was stressful for you?
The part where the LSU starter goes out and then pitchers come in afterwards. That's the stressful part right now.
I'll give you a hint of what they call that. It's got horns. You put hogs in a pen. Bullpen.
Well,
Matt, as a former collegiate pitcher, what is my man over here making a pizza? Like, do we need to call the police? I mean, is he okay over here? Can I tell you how great it is that I literally just said, is this man like going to get it, pulling out a pizza? And it actually happened. This is how our friendship works.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. What were you saying? I'm sorry. I'm trying to just drown my sorrows in covering the last 2 weekends of LSU baseball.
I'm not mad at Auburn. I'm not mad at Auburn, Matt. I'm really not. You're talking about probably and arguably the hottest team in college baseball, right? They've won 5 of their last 6 SEC series.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, which I think it was so funny. Yeah, I'm with you. I am not getting all worked up about Auburn like I am about Mississippi State.
But this one, man, come on.
And I know that, I know Jay looks at things differently than all of us, media, fans, everybody. Obviously, that's why he's had the career that he's had. And he said this week, he was like, guys, I'm telling you, don't sleep on Mississippi State. When I watch them, they're a quality SEC baseball team. I'm sorry, that was horseshit. I'm sorry, that was not a good baseball team. I'm sorry, that. And the thing was, on Sunday, Dakota Jordan, who hit that absolute missile off of Blake Money, I think it was. Christian Little.
Christian Little. Yeah, Christian Little.
Hit that absolute missile. That dude had been put in a blender all weekend up to that point. I want to say
he struck out 7 times.
I was getting ready to say he had struck out 7 times up to that point. Dude couldn't find a hit with a damn map. And he hits an absolute missile, pimps it, and I go, there's your weekend right there. There it is. A team that comes in that's last in the SEC, 2 years removed from winning a national championship. They have literally one of the worst pitching staffs and worst lineups in the conference. And they come out here, not only blister based, but that's the thing too, is this is what I said Sunday when they were up 13-4. I was like, well, you know what? I think the key to LSU winning this series is getting to a bullpen that's worse than theirs. And that was the case because look,
you were the reason LSU lost. You jinxed them.
Well, maybe, but Blake, let's
maybe.
let's call it how it is. Let's not act like Mississippi State's bullpen was out there lighting the world on fire either.
No, Matt.
let's not act like they were rolling dudes out there that were shutting LSU down, okay?
Well, and so here's the argument. The argument I'm facing I did an emergency show yesterday, and let me tell you, you know what? Blake, they got hurt. Everybody's hurt. And then, Matt, this is what I do. You know I do this every Monday. I go and look at the Sunday game for Arkansas and South Carolina. You know what the guy who calls the game, you know what the first thing he said? Well, this has been an awesome weekend for Arkansas that has 4 of their guys from the bullpen out.
And a weekend guy too, right?
In a weekend, Matt, they threw their best reliever, the second lefty. He started on Sunday and shoved.
Yeah.
Hasn't made a start. Shoved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, I love Jay. You love Jay. Okay. This is unacceptable, Matthew.
Here's the thing why it's more frustrating this year than it was last year. Last year, you did not have the dudes to win a regional.
No, right.
You did not have the dudes to win an SEC title. That is just plain and simple. You just didn't. Okay. This year, even right now, I'm talking purely pedigree. I'm talking purely what people have done from before this season, and I'm talking talent. You've got enough right now to win the SEC, hands down.
I don't disagree with that.
That is the most frustrating thing is to watch. Like, even though he's been good recently, Thatcher Hurd go out and pitch like he has. Christian Little. Blake, I'll be totally honest with you. At Southeastern, when they played Southeastern, I talked to a few scouts at that game, and I point blank asked them, I said, can you tell me what is wrong with Christian Little? And they said, we have no idea. They said, we have no idea, but whatever was going on at Vanderbilt has followed him here to Baton Rouge. Now, if you noticed, I even texted you during the game. It looks like Wes Johnson has been working on him mechanically. His leg kick he was always shorter out of the stretch, obviously, but now that, that really long leg kick out of the wind up is gone. It's more shorter. It's condensed, but it's still the same result. You've got him. You've got Thatcher Hurd. Like Griffin Herring is great. I think he just runs out of gas. I think Gavin Guidry.
The balk call. That's not a balk.
Yeah.
That's not a balk.
I think Gavin Guidry is good. I think they're still kind of feeling out. I mean, he and Javen Coleman, I think they're still trying to see how far they can really go. Because me personally, I think you probably should have let Javen. Actually, I think you should have let Javen figure it out a little bit more, even though he was walking everybody. And I think maybe you leave Gavin in there, maybe a hitter or two more to kind of see if he can get out of it.
Matt, but here's the argument I have. Here's the argument I have with the Coleman thing. Okay, he's an out away from getting out of the inning. There's a runner on first.
Here's my problem with that.
But he calls it. But Jay said that it was a pitch count thing.
Yeah. Here's my thing. I have been totally confused by using Javen Coleman in the SEC. I've said that from the very beginning.
You said it on this show.
Now, yesterday, he made me eat my words because he was really good. He was really good. But he's on a pitch count. That's why I don't understand it. So if you're going to do that, in my opinion, don't start him. Don't start him. And I know that Ole Miss was bad. I know that he's been up and down when he comes out of the pen. But if you get that kind of performance, I don't need that in the beginning of the game because this offense can slug its way back from an early deficit.
Well, here's my argument about him, Matt. Everybody kept saying, well, he's walking everybody, but he's not missing by much. And then last night I'm talking about that, and they're like, well, how do you know? I'm like, because he had 5 strikeouts in 2 2/3 innings. That's how I know.
See, that's my thing is like, I'm fine with using him now because, again, like he has pitched really well as of late. You need to use him out of the pen because, Blake, that's another thing. We don't LSU bullpen does not have a punch out guy outside of Skeens where you can go, hey, I need 2 outs and I don't need it's second and third with 1 out and the game and the go ahead run is on second. I need 2 punch outs right here. Go get them. Don't have that guy.
I mean, that guy in the beginning of the year was Shores, and I understand that argument from Jay. I mean,
that guy in the beginning of the year was Christian Little too.
That's true. And look, Chase was getting rocked up a little bit now. Like let's not forget about that. So
yeah, no, I agree. But I'm saying too, like you look at everything you need. You need someone to stabilize a game, which Riley Cooper did this weekend, back-to-back days, which was, positive. But other than that, you don't. You need someone in the 8th, 7th or 8th to kind of again come in, set up a closer, which you don't have. Who do you have that you can say, I need you to do this, and they can go out and perform? You don't have it. You don't.
I mean, Matt, I hate to say it, but you well, and here was my argument last night too on the show. And I know you can't burn the red shirt of Moffitt, okay? But everybody's like, well, you can't do anything else. And I'm like, well, Aiden Moffitt's on the bench and he's going to every game, and Jay's made it a point to bring him to every away series. Okay,
yeah.
So he's a part.
And that's the thing too.
Hold on one thing though. Hold on one second. Everybody keeps telling me, and Jay keeps telling me he can't throw strikes. Now he obviously sees more than I can. Okay, neither can Christian Little.
It's kind of like my varsity basketball coach when I was a sophomore and I wasn't playing a whole lot, and I was like, "Well, why am I not playing?" And he goes, "Well, you're not playing defense." I go, "We're 2-20. Nobody's playing defense." Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like I understand it. Like at this point, we just got to start auditioning dudes to see if they can do it. I mean, does any position player pitch too? I mean, can Paul Skeens hit and pitch? I mean, that's
well, we know he can do that.
Where we're getting to now, because
again, I mean, you know what I would ask? I mean, because he's got an outright missile. Can Alex Milazzo throw 5 fast? I mean, because he paints cheese when he's throwing it to second anyway.
But also too, Blake, is
anybody that's taking us serious, that is an outright joke. Because some of our enemies will clip that and post it to Twitter.
Oh yeah.
It's just
look what he said. He doesn't know baseball.
Correct. It's just a joke. Let me transition this. So I think that this is a positive. Okay, what I'm about to say, even though it's going to come off and sound negative. In 2 years, I've had one moment under Jay Johnson where I really was like, what in the outright hell are you doing? Right? Like, and I feel like other coaches, like my buddies, like, Ty Richardson, those guys with Dave Van Horn, they do that to him all the time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When Ben Napolt came in for Gavin Dugas.
Yeah. So,
Matt, do you know that you've had 2 games this year, technically 3, in South Carolina with the Grand Slam, and Texas when you couldn't buy a hit with Gordon McKernan's money, okay? Gavin Guidry was the one that came up and delivered for you and hit a Grand Slam and hit the 3-run home run against Texas. By the way, their attorney team, their regional team. That's I get the logic.
Jay's logic was that you wanted to put someone in scoring position, so they had to pitch to Trey Morgan. Okay,
I'm with that. And
I get that. And then if you have to pitch to Trey Morgan or you walk him, that means you've only got one base open, and you've got to choose to pitch between Dylan Cruz and Tommy White. Well, obviously, with the way things happen, hindsight's 20/20, but the logic is sound there. I mean, it really is.
I agree with it. But here's also my question, okay? If the argument is that Gavin Dugas is going to hit into a double play, when has he done that in clutch? When has he done that? Now, I know Chad in the chat is like, well, he's hitting like 250 in the SEC. He's also hit a bomb that saved your rear end. And Matt, here's another thing. Remember the Oregon series? Remember Oregon? See, people think I'm just a football guy. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Matt, he's come up in 4 clutch situation and hit bombs. That's the problem I have there. Logic or no logic, because regardless, with a runner on, they're going to tie the game anyway. Now, what do you think? Trey Morgan's going to get his 3rd home run of the game? Maybe.
The logic was sound, and
Well, then make the argument for Milazzo for Travinsky.
See that? Okay. So Jay did say, like, y'all, it was hot Sunday. I mean, it was. I mean, all of us media people, I was in shorts and a golf polo, and I was sweating my ass. Like I was. I wasn't doing it.
What was Shot wearing?
Huh? Not shorts. But no, like Jacques and Chessa and me were all sitting there sweating, not doing anything. We're standing still, sweating. Okay. I actually texted Travinsky today because we're getting ready to do something with him. And he said, I texted him last night and I said, hey man, just trying to get the schedule for this week, whatever. He didn't respond. And it was at like 8:39. And I texted him today. I was like, hey man, like, you good? He goes, yeah, I'm good. We're working out schedule stuff. He was like, sorry, I didn't get back to you yesterday. I'm still drained from catching. Jay took him out. Like Jay, there were dudes on Mississippi State's bench that were throwing up because of the heat. And there were dudes on it.
That's fine.
I saw Mississippi State's third base coach, #CheeseBro, look into the dugout. It was actually after the balk. So the balk and the guy scores, and he looks, the dude that scored, he looks at the bench, and I saw him say, he's throwing up. He's got to throw up. Like I saw him mouth that to the bench. And Jay said it post game. He said, guys are throwing up, heat exhaustion. They're trying to get hydrated. Dude, when you got 15, 20, 25 pounds of catching gear on in 95-degree heat with 100% humidity, you might as well be at the gates of hell. So that's why he took him out. It wasn't because of a defensive thing. Now, for me, pinch hitting somebody, I'm pinch hitting for Milazzo over Dugas all day, every day. I don't care what he did against Alabama. I don't care what he did. I'm pinch hitting.
Well, and I was wrong. It was for Beloso, but even Beloso, to me, it's just as egregious.
Yeah, but in the ninth.
Well, here would be my here was my counter argument last night. I'll see if you agree. I know that Alex has had some clutch situations. Okay, but you need someone that can actually tattoo on something. Like,
well, that was going to be my point. But with Milazzo, it was bases loaded, 2 outs, if my memory correct, right?
Either base loaded or it was bases loaded.
But it was 2 outs.
Yeah, it was 2 outs. And he popped out to first, I believe.
For you. A sac fly does obviously nothing for you. But in Dugas's case, I trust
Gavin Dugas more than Ben Napolt. Now the bunt was laid down, but
in terms of, I think there is a greater possibility that Gavin Dugas will hit a deep fly ball that will have a sac fly with 1 out versus Ben Napolt giving up an out and then relying on Trey Morgan and then banking on them walking Dylan Cruz. You see what I'm saying? I just feel like the certainty is more with Gavin Dugas hitting something deep for a sac fly versus playing the numbers and the analytics and saying the matchups and going, okay, I want to do that. And I get, like I said, Jay's logic is sound. I mean, it is. It made sense. I get it. And even when I heard it for the first time, I was like, okay, like I can get behind that. Still doesn't make it right.
No, it doesn't make it right. I mean, again, look, we could be here all day talking about this, and I don't know. I mean, Matt, they got to win this weekend. I don't know what do.
They got to. I would argue for a national seed. Obviously, Hoover is going to be added on top of that. I mean, they got
the only thing I push back on. No SEC team that's had 20 wins has not been 20 wins in the conference has not been a national seed.
I also I want to get your opinion on this.
Oh God, this means that you're going to try to what?
No, I'm just serious because I saw it and I read Glenn Guilbeau's article comparing LSU to Tennessee last year. Thought it was a little unfair. The similarities are there. I get,
well, it's just specifically unfair to Tennessee.
Yeah, I get it. You're number one for 12 straight weeks, and
I don't mean this in a wrong way, but the only reason Tennessee wasn't number one more of all last year is because of people hating them. Matt, they set at number 2 for 17 weeks.
Here's my point, though, is maybe, and people are gonna look like I don't remember right off the top of my head, outside of Ben Joyce and Dolander, I don't remember of any top and the center fielder, short, stocky kid. I can't remember. He went in the second or third round or whatever.
Right.
I mean, it was loaded with a lot of high end talent, and they won almost 50 games or whatever. Is it fair?
I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to Tennessee. No. Matt, I mean, I can make the argument, even though they didn't get to Omaha, I can make the argument they were the best team in baseball. I understand that they lost a super regional, but they were the best team in baseball last year. There's not one. I agree with Ben McDonald. They were the best team that we saw all year. They went up against a team that legitimately had 11 seniors. 11, Matt. Notre Dame had 11 seniors. 8 of them started. By the way, I think it was 7 of them were 5-year guys, red-shirted guys, right? Mm-hmm. So at the same token, that's a lot of seniors that did something. So, but to your point, me and Gilbo's come on this show. I've argued with him.
Yeah, Gilbo, he was there. He was there on Sunday.
There's no reasoning with him.
Well, look. I know that LSU fans do not hold Glenn Guilbeau in the highest regard. I will give him credit. I have no opinion either way. I really don't. Because I haven't been here long enough to know the lineage of Glenn Guilbeau versus LSU fans. But you have to respect that man pulls up all the time. He came on your show. He comes to press conferences. He comes to games.
Well, Glenn, he ain't scared.
He is not scared. He
ain't scared.
On your ass.
He might act like a little woman sometimes, but he's not scared.
I'm all for pulling up. I'm all for it.
Thoughts on? Well, let's stick to one more to baseball. Then I want to ask you a question. Thoughts on? If this Mac, I just don't know if this team could go through a super. So if you're lined up with a team that's deep, like they made the tournament because their pitching's really good. You can't. I don't know if you can last.
I'm anxious to see how they use Gavin Guidry and Javen Coleman. I'm really anxious to see if
Matt, who you throw tomorrow? Because you know what? The same guys that threw this weekend are going tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the thing. But that's the thing. That's the thing. Why
you know who I'm starting? Bucknam. You think I'm joking? Go get me as much as you can, because I need all of these dudes for the weekend. You think I'm joking? I am not joking.
No, you know what's crazy? I used to do this in college, and this is not a joke. So I would normally start on Saturday. So let's see, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. So Tuesday or Wednesday was sometimes a bullpen day for me. And if we had a midweek, I would just tell coach, hey, throw me in for a couple innings and I'll get my work in on a midweek game. 100%. Hey, Paul Skeens, is this your bullpen day? I want you to go out and pump 100 against McNeese and see what happens.
There's no way.
Screw it, whatever.
Jay would be fired.
That he would turn in the lineup card and they would be like, "Oh, Skeens pitching? Yeah, go ahead and clean your shit out."
I would run Bucknam and Helmers out there and say, guys, both of you have 75 pitches apiece. You're not getting pulled.
Yeah, but Blake too, like with Helmers, and you're talking about Moffitt.
Man, it doesn't matter.
I know it does. I know it doesn't matter, but if they're not throwing right now, should they throw it all?
Yeah, they threw a week ago.
I know, but
Let me tell you something. And you can laugh at this all you want. Bugnum has not had. Bugnum can throw.
I think he is. I think once he gets,
Matt, we were sitting right behind home plate at Southeastern, and we had two Major League Baseball scouts literally asking everybody, saying, "Hey, that kid's got a little life in him."
No, I've seen that kid a couple times. I saw him in the fall a couple times. Look, he's a sleeper. He is a sleeper because
he throws enough strikes to, if he progresses, can be dangerous.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just think at this point, and that's what I asked Jay.
Throw Helmers out there and say, give it all you got.
But here's the thing: I don't think that we give Jay enough credit sometimes, and this is tough. And I asked him this yesterday. I said, with the way everything is right now, with who you have and who you don't, and what X can do versus Y can do, what your bullpen can do, does it make it hard to manage it? You know, you really have to be tinkering and planning out and getting about 15 different scenarios, you know, in your back pocket to say, okay, if he goes to, then I got to go here and stuff. Like Jay did, for as bad as they were last year, the bullpen, Jay did literally the best he could. And I think he's going to have to do the same thing when it comes to Georgia.
They're worse in the pen this year.
They're
worse in the pen.
When it comes to Georgia, Hoover, regional, and then, you know, TBD after, Jay is going to have to do the same thing.
Matt, you know who we miss so bad? You know who this team misses so bad? Paul Gervais.
What a guy. And it's funny, Blake, too, because I was like, so I went live yesterday after the game, and as I'm setting up to go live, Grant Taylor was walking out of the dugout, just shorts, just on his phone. And I just sat there and looked at him, and I was like, what if just he's here? Garrett Edwards, great. Chase Shore's great. But what if just Grant Taylor is there? Maybe you have obviously a better bolster.
Matt, let's call it what it is, because this was reported when he went down. He would be your second guy.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Maybe you have a better bullpen. Maybe you have a better number two guy.
Could you imagine Skeens, Taylor, Floyd?
My God. And look, again, talking about eating my words, Ty Floyd. I'm not there yet, but I'm very much getting there of him as the number two guy. I mean, he shoved.
He shoved the last 2 weekends.
He shoved.
Yeah, he shoved. You know what I'm doing I hadn't said this publicly, but I'm going to do it right now. You know what I'm doing if I'm Jay? Coach Maneri, I need some help.
I did notice Skip was there on Friday night.
All right. Be careful, because I did hear whispers.
Look, if Skip Bertman told me what to do with my sportscast and he's never anchored or reported a day in my life, I'm doing it. Like, seriously, if Skip Bertman walked up to a McDonald's
did you see who he was talking to?
I did see he was talking to Christian Little before the game.
Mm-hmm.
I did see
What is Skip seeing Christian Little to where Skip, who doesn't get around really good, goes to all the people in that dugout? Why does he go to Christian Little?
Here's what I'm going to say is, talking to some of the dudes that on the team, Skip is around all the time. He's Skip Bertman. You think he's not going to be around the program? You think he's just going to be like, oh, I'm going to take this year off and like go play golf? No. he's always around. Everybody is always asking him advice, but he does such a good job of giving unsolicited advice that you actually need, right? Like he is that guy because Skip is just that personality. Just saying. It's not a bad thing that Skip Bertman's talking to Christian Little. Okay?
No, not even remotely close.
Not a bad thing.
All right, last one for you. I got to get you out of here because we're coming up on the hard TV or hard break. Brian Kelly just got another recruit from Jawan Johnson. So much for the he can't recruit narrative, right?
How about that, huh? How about that?
Man, I'm going to tell you something. Okay. Orgeron recruited at a very high level.
Not like this. Not like this.
Well, here's the difference. Go back and look at Ed's last two classes. They wind up being horrendous. Okay. Nobody's here. Top end guys flaked out.
Yeah, and look, we have no idea. Recruiting is just like the NFL draft, right? The success of the class is only based on the production, the future production of the players, right? Like we can go back draft after draft and look at busts or people who didn't perform and, oh, that class is bad. I just do not see Brian Kelly's getting in a lot of homes that LSU maybe would have just gotten a knock on the door and not an invitation in. And I'm not talking about just in Louisiana because that's a given. Every kid from every corner, every small town in Louisiana LSU is number one on their list, even if they don't get recruited by them. You know, like it'll be LSU and then Dillard. I don't even know if Dillard in New Orleans has football. No. Like that's how it is. Okay. But I'm talking about nationally, just looking at everything, Brian Kelly is getting some invites into some homes that haven't seen in a while.
I agree. Matt Trent, WBRZ, my bestie. You and Carter, both of you on the same day.